For most of my life, I believed what many of us were taught to believe: study hard, get a good degree, build a successful career, have the family, work hard, save and invest. And don't get me wrong, I still think that's really good advice. I'm not here to tell you that education doesn't matter. In fact, I think education is very empowering. And I'm definitely not here to tell you that careers don't matter. And I'm most certainly not telling you that everybody should quit their jobs and start an online business, because that's not what this channel is about. But over the last few years, maybe since I started my career, I've been questioning a lot of things. The one assumption that sits beneath all of that advice, the assumption that one good job equals to security. And again, before anybody gets me wrong, I'm not saying employment is bad. Far from it. My career has given me the opportunity to build stability, to provide for my family, to contribute to the household. It's given me opportunities to travel and to do things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do had I not had this income and this career. And I'm sure many of you feel exactly the same way. But this is the question I've been asking myself. If one income is responsible for everything in my life, how secure is that really? Just think about it. One income, or two incomes in this instance, because my husband's also working, supports the following, your mortgage or your bond, groceries, school fees, medical aid, perhaps retirement savings, perhaps a holiday here and there, hopefully your future plans too. And yet, highly educated or many highly educated professionals carry that entire responsibility on one or maybe two sources of income. And that's not criticism, it's simply reality. If I have to be honest, I think that's where a lot of professionals find themselves today. Not necessarily unhappy, not necessarily unsuccessful, and maybe not even desperate, but just increasingly aware of how much depends on one income source. The strange thing is that many people have been more qualified: teachers, executives, managers, accountants, healthcare professionals, engineers, academics, you name it. People with decades of experience, and yet many still feel financially stretched, even if there are two professionals in the household. It's not because they're doing anything wrong, it's just because the world has changed. Education costs have changed. Housing costs have changed. The economic structure and environment has changed. And I know many people are quietly asking themselves, there has to be another way, another option, another way to create options. Just notice that I didn't say there has to be a way to get rich quickly. I'm sure there probably is. I just haven't found it yet. This is certainly not what this channel is about. I'm sure you've noticed. The question isn't necessarily how to escape work, although if you want to, that's also possible. The question really is how to create more flexibility, more resilience, more options. And that's exactly why I started this experiment. Not as much as me hating my job right now or hating my profession, and most certainly not to become an influencer, not at my age, not with my capacity, not with my life. And also, not because I think online business is easy. Maybe I used to have that idea, that perception, but I've realized that's not really what it is about. It's not an easy journey necessarily. But I started because I became curious. I became curious because I saw other people doing this online, and I was wondering, is it possible to create an extra income stream as a professional without losing my professional credibility? I was wondering, is it possible for digital systems to create leverage in a way traditional careers often can't? Curious about whether spending 2 hours a day, like they say, using the 2 hours a day to build something that could eventually create more options for me and my family. And that's it. And what I've realized is that the biggest shift isn't necessarily financially, it's mental. Because most of us were trained to think in one direction. You have to work more, you have to earn more. So if you work more hours, you will earn more. If you see more patients, you will earn more, which is right, which is true. And if you're in corporate, you get promoted, you earn more, you wait for your raise, gain experience, study more to earn more. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Fundamentally, it's a time for money model. And the reality is, even highly qualified professionals run into the same reality at the end of the day. There are only so many hours in a day. And that's one of the main reasons I became curious and interested in digital leverage. I guess initially I thought it was magic, but I realized it's not magic. It's not entirely passive, and it's not easy at the beginning. But here's the magic: it is one of the very few models where effort today can continue creating value tomorrow. Because here's the thing: with digital products, you create it once and you can resell as many times as you want without having to do anything else. So, will it work? Honestly, I don't know yet. I've seen it work for so many other people. I've seen it work for people that I personally know. Will it work for me? This channel is about documenting that process in real time. So stay tuned and watch, because some weeks will be exciting, some weeks will be boring, some weeks will show massive progress, and some may not. But I think that's important. I think it's important to be transparent and for you to know as much as I know. Because what happens in social media and online marketing is that people only show the outcome, they show the destination, but you're often wondering about the journey. So I'm here to show you this experiment in real time. I'm showing you what the journey looks like because I already know what the outcome can look like. And what I do know is the goal is not to quit my job right now. And I'm certainly not going to replace my career. I mean, I have a PhD in physiotherapy, so I cannot undo that. The goal is to create options, because options give you choices and choices gives you freedom. Options create resilience, and options reduce the dependence on a single outcome, on a single income source. And whether this journey succeeds beyond my expectations or whether I just learn some valuable lessons along the way, I think it's worth it. So maybe the question isn't how quickly can I make money online, but maybe the question is how can I become less independent on one source of income over the next 2 to 3 to 5 years? And that's the question I'm exploring. And maybe that's the question you've been asking yourself too. So if you are interested and if you want to know about this journey, stay tuned, subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.